Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to make an abstract art journal page with this color scheme. I'm working in the Arteza Expert Paper Pad spiral bound journal. I use it as an art journal. I think it's usually named as a paper pad. I don't like it very much for watercolors. Well, it's not bad, but it's not my favorite paper, and I also prefer paper pads with glue all around the edges, and so I think it's perfect to use it for mixed media. I have made some scribbly marks with a Neocolor crayon. I'm using the water-soluble ones, and here I am adding the first layer of acrylic paint using a silicone brush. The crayons will mix into the paint a little bit, and I really like that effect. You also can see that I use just a simple paper as my paint palette. These papers are turning out so beautiful, and I often use them for my collages. I just play intuitive and loose here. I have no plan. I just do what my hand thinks I should do. And I always like the result. It's often better not to think too much, just add the paint. For my next layer, I'm mixing, I believe it's Portrait Pink with a little bit of quinacridone magenta. And that will just be my next layer, and I will apply the paint in the same way I've just done it before. I really enjoy using these color cards as inspiration, and I will link up the video how I made these in the end cards. These kind of projects always need some drying time in between, so I usually work on a bunch of them. I have about 3 or 4 journals laying around, and then I play on this page and let that dry, and then I play on the other page. This one is already dry, and I'm going in with a water-soluble pencil. I'm using the Derwent Ink Tense. I started with the black one, but then I thought I would use a color that is on my color card. I just store them in a glass, and I have to search for the right color. I'm making some scribbly marks, and I'm holding the pencil at the very end to get some really unexpected lines. I now come in with some acrylic ink. It's the Brilliant Violet from Schmincke. I really love this color because it's super transparent, and a transparent acrylic paint usually is very intense. So it really is super bright and beautiful, and I love transparent acrylic paints. I often use them for my jelly prints. I'm adding a bit of water to make it more fluid, and then I just let it run over my page. If it's too much in some areas, or if I have splatters, I just use a baby wipe to remove that. I'm adding in a little bit more of the ink to make it darker in some areas. You always need some dark and light values of paint on your piece to make it look interesting. If you're sometimes not sure if your piece has enough different values, you can just take a photo, turn this into black and white, and then you can see the values of the colors. I will now let this dry again before I come in with my next layer. Adding all these layers gives me a lot of dimension, and that's also something that makes a piece interesting, especially if you are working abstract and then you don't have many things to look at. It's just pattern and marks and color, and then a lot of layers usually are interesting. I'm using the sap green acrylic paint here. It's one of my favorites from Schmincke. I used to have the student grade color, and now after I liked it so much, I purchased the artist grade one, and it's more fluid and I feel it's even more vibrant and pigmented. I'm blending the paint just with my fingers, and you can see you don't need much to cover a big area. I let this dry again completely before I come back to add more texture with stamps. Of course, if you don't have stamps, you don't need to add any, or you can make some more marks just with a pencil to create some texture, but I really love having some stamped script or words or texture on the background. And here I'm using just a number stamp from my new Mixed Media Marks 3 stamp set. I'm using black, or no, maybe it's green ink. I don't really know if it's the green or the black. Maybe you can see it on your screen if you have a bigger one. But here in my editing software, it's a little bit too small. I now come in with the Neocolor crayons again to make some marks, and I'm picking the same colors that I already have on my page, so everything looks cohesive. And I just scribble some marks over all those layers. Here I also use the Neocolor II Crayons. I think I mentioned this already a few times, that I prefer those against the Neocolor one. And whenever I don't need any waterproof crayon marks, I just use those because they are more creamier. I felt that everything was a little bit too mid-valued maybe, and I needed some more light areas. So here I'm coming in with the acrylic ink in white, and I just apply it with my fingers and add a little bit of water to make it more fluid. And of course, as always, I need some color splatters. I let this dry again, and here I'm coming back in with the Neocolors. I've added this pink because I've missed it a little bit and it's on my color scheme, so I decided I will add a touch of it with the Neocolor, and here I'm blending it in with a little bit of water. And here I grabbed my Posca pens to add even more marks. This is one of my favorite steps in the process, finishing up a page with markers. To remove the tape around, I'm heating it up with my heat tool. That makes it super easy to remove. There are some areas where the paint ran under the tape, and I just will correct this with a Posca pen. I'm really happy on how this page turned out. I did a bunch of these kind of pages recently because I enjoyed the process so much. You can check out my Instagram channel to see more of them. I'm adding some final touches with the markers, and here I'm grabbing a pastel pencil. And that's the finished spread. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you are a little bit inspired. And then we will see us next week. Bye!